Yeah, hello and welcome to this video. This is the round 10 report for the London candidates. I'm back in Germany. Unfortunately, I would have liked to continue even for a couple of days, but my budget is limited, so I needed to return to Germany, had a safe flight back, and now I'm here to present the round 10 games which have been played today. And I know you enjoy different forms of commentary, also by more than one person. So I've got a friend over here who joined me for dinner, and now he's interested to see how am I recording these videos actually. So he joined me and we do a duel here for this round. My friend is J.Kaufeld. I do it in German pronunciation. He's a FIDE master, also living in the same city as I am in Duisburg. He's also a book author, and did I mention he's a FIDE master? He's a good player. So we'll do a nice dual commentary for Jürgen.
Yeah. Hi there. Thanks for introducing me, and I'm very glad to be here and being part of your show.
Yeah, thanks. So be kind to him. He's new to recording videos. So let's see.
Yes, and maybe you will recognize I'm a bit excited about this. Yes.
Yeah, okay, but it will work out. So we'll have 4 games as usual, and it was an interesting round with very little draws. Some of you dislike draws, so we'll start right now with the least interesting game. We've got Radjabov against Svidler, and as expected, we got a Grunfeld. And in fact, my friend here is a Grunfeld expert. He knows more about this opening than I do.
Yeah, okay. So I employ the Grunfeld since many years, but okay. So it's a very difficult opening because you always have to be up to date. Yeah, there are so many novelties that came up in the last years, and it's very difficult. And very complicated opening in general.
Yeah, there are many lines that White can try against the Grunfeld. I think Radjabov plays a couple of them. He's not a specific expert in one line, and here he's going for the Rook B1 line, which has been a long-term favorite of especially of Boris Gelfand. He played it a lot in the 90s. And Svidler has, of course, a wide experience as he played the Grunfeld since his childhood, even when he played the World Juniors here in Duisburg, in this town where we're sitting right now. In 1992, he became, I think he was second place in the World Juniors, and back then even he played the Grunfeld, so he knows it since his childhood. Yeah. And okay, the Rook B1, there are many lines against this, but the main line arguably is this check, and White only has 2 choices. He can play the very meek Queen D2, which leads to a queen exchange, but okay, the main thing of course is the Bishop D2 move, after which Black grabs the A2 pawn and White castles. So why White is sacrificing this pawn actually? What is the compensation?
Yeah, there are some points. White, for example, has got a very nice pawn center, D and E pawn, and it can always be a threat to go forward with one of them, D5 or E5, and okay, so it's not too easy to develop the queen side. Black's queen side, because you have some pressure on b7, and the bishop on c8 has to protect, and so as well that the queen on a2 maybe has to watch that it's not hanging around sometimes. Maybe Black has to lose some time to get the queen back, and so I think it's worth a pawn, of course.
Yeah, the thing is, this queen is exposed here but it also, in a way, helps to hinder white from getting the pieces on the squares where he wants them to be. So let's say this move is not possible. The queen is somehow also a bit annoying for white. And the good thing for black in this position is he has a very simple plan. Just push the a pawn to a1 and win the game. So this all sounds very nice, but in fact the reality of this line is it has been played like for 20 years or somewhat more even, and it's all very much worked out. What black tries to do is he very often gives up one of those pawns and tries to get quick counterplay, and Svidler played bishop g4 here, which is arguably the main line.
Yes, instead of bishop g4, black has some alternatives, as you already mentioned. A5 at once is a possibility. Also b6 is playable if you do not want to sacrifice the pawn on b7 and let the rook in, and I think also queen e6 has been played, and so you can see there are lots of options.
Yeah, the thing is, if black goes in for this line, so if you, for instance, employ the Grünfeld and you need some line against rook b1, this is the line where you really need to learn everything. Yeah. You cannot play this position based on general principles or some rule that you try to follow. You need to exactly know the moves. Well, Svidler is playing bishop g4, which is answered by bishop g5. In fact, they are both pawns hanging. What black is trying to do, he sacrifices one pawn back to get his pieces out, and now he's even playing h6, encouraging white to take.
Yes.
But white doesn't want to take. I think this leads to nothing as black gets the pawn back.
Yeah, absolute right. So I think that's the reason why catching the e pawn is not the best move in this position. So
white just drops back.
Actually, this is
I think the main point was to get the bishop to e3, where it is better than d2, but he argues that
h6.
That this is a point of attack at some point. He went knight to c6, getting pressure here, and if white would actually take, I think there are already tactical ideas coming. For example, something like this is always a possibility. Maybe it is not working in this exact position, but the counterplay is there on d4. White doesn't want to waste a move really. He wants to push the pawn, so he goes d5, and now the knight is hanging. And it doesn't really have a good square. I mean, where do you want to go? If you go to e5, there's this is not on, but white can probably just take. This is the problem probably, because it is on the 7th and it takes d7.
Yeah.
So he goes to a5. White plays rook e1. I think this is to move the knight at some point, that it is actually possible to move it. Otherwise, there's always this annoying pressure on e2.
Yeah.
And black now
goes position of queen on a2 and knight on a5 looks a bit awkward, but I think it's not so easy for white to exploit this.
Yeah, the problem is that this bishop is exceptionally strong, and if it weren't for this bishop, of course, there's just a move like rook a1 harassing the queen, but right now white has no move whatsoever to attack it even, so this is the problem. White is going knight d4 here, blocking this diagonal, so now he actually maybe is able to attack the queen. Black drop back, and now we come to the only, to be honest, only interesting position of this game, where white has a choice. He can play on, basically, or he can attack black's queen all the way through, and black has a hard time to escape. This is the problem. In the game, they just repeated
Yeah, but what would be a consequence if the black queen goes to c3?
Yeah, we can look at this. Let's have a brief look at queen to c3. The queen, what is the queen doing on c3? It probably just tries to get back,
retreat to c7 maybe. So
get back to black's camp. The question is, can white continue to attack it? I mean, let's just try this, just for argument's sake.
d4 and d6 maybe.
Maybe now we need to go to d6. Yeah, this seems playable. I mean, why shouldn't black play this? You can try. Maybe one idea is here queen d2, just to attack this with the tempo.
So I think I do not like to play a move like g5, so I think yes.
G5 looks very losing.
Very strange.
Yeah, maybe here, and then.
But maybe black has some typical ideas like rook d8 and maybe put a pawn to e6 just to.
Break the center.
Attack the center. Yeah.
I think black could have continued. I mean, also here there would have been queen a3 just with this route. It's a possibility.
Yeah, right.
And in this position, white also is not actually forced to play rook a1. There are certainly other moves. One move could be, for example, bishop a6. This also was discussed in the
to
live commentary.
Have control over c8, okay.
Yeah, so no rook can go to c8. And white can now try to continue to increase the pressure. He could try, let's say, queen to d3 and then rook a1. And then the queen is actually trapped. So there are possibilities to continue the game. And in fact, what I think is they both don't have the greatest tournament. Radjabov is on last place, I think, or close to last. He's last place, right? I think he's on last place. It's a terrible tournament. And Svidler had a good start, but after that he lost 2 games. Didn't he lose 2 games? I think 2 games, right? He's on -1. So he doesn't have a real chance to do something in the tournament. And probably they just thought, okay, let's wrap this up and have a free day. What I actually find curious is they have those 30 move rule. Yeah, you cannot make a draw before move 30. The only exception is a perpetual or some sort of repetition of moves like we have here. But they have to consult an arbiter.
Yes, that's the rule.
And this is interesting actually, because I think if I would be the arbiter and they would ask me to give them a draw basically because there are no possibilities to avoid it, then I would have declined this request because you can avoid it. But I don't know, maybe they don't want to be too harsh on the players. But in fact, if you want to have this rule, the 30 move rule, you should be enforcing it in this way and not allow them to make this draw. I can understand both players in a way because it also seems a bit risky to not make it in a way, but mostly I think it was because Radjabov simply doesn't want to play this unclear position, and after he lost all these games, and if you have
but you always have to say Radjabov lost his game with black against Svidler, I think. So maybe I expected him to
try
show
for
some revenge. To beat Svidler.
It was a bit lame, bit lame to make this draw. But what can you do? I think actually the arbiter shouldn't have allowed that. But okay, let's not make a big fuss about that because the 3 other games had good content to look at. So let's switch to Grzesiuk against Kramnik. So the tournament standings is that Grzesiuk was in quite decent shape, but then he lost the last round. Or am I wrong? No, it was a draw against Svidler, right? But he's not really in big contention. He would need a win in a way, maybe. And Kramnik also needs a win somehow to catch up. So let's see, what opening does Kramnik play for a win? The Berlin.
Of course.
Yeah.
What else?
The same opening he always plays, even if he's not looking for a win. He's very principled in a way. And Nigel Short also had this story that he always tells when Kramnik plays the Berlin, that it is Kramnik's, as he told Short at one point, that it is Kramnik's personal goal to make people stop to play e4 because of the Berlin. So he wants to refute e4 once and for all, because, as he said, when you play e4, this pawn is not protected, and it's an important pawn. Yeah, well, Grishuk actually is a principled player. He doesn't play d3, which is maybe even more common nowadays. Carlsen almost always plays this, surprisingly, as he's such a great endgame player, but he doesn't play castles. So, okay, let's cut it short. We got the main line of the Berlin Wall here. This endgame. Do you actually play this as white? This endgame when you play 1e4?
Actually, I have to say, if I know my opponent plays e5 on first move, I play first d4. Yeah?
Okay.
So that's my
this is
that's my choice when I see. Oh no!
Yeah, this is very popular among the top players. As I think it was Svidler who said, 1d4 is the ultimate anti-Berlin and anti-Marshall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, Grishuk didn't went for an anti-Berlin with 1d4. He can play 1d4, but he obviously wanted the end game here against Kramnik, because you can be relatively sure that Kramnik will play it. Okay, so he went knight c3, and at this point Black has a big choice here on move 9. I actually played the Berlin a couple of times as Black when I started out to play 1e4, 1e5, because I wanted some line as Black that can be learned relatively easily. And back then I always played the old move King e8. But in fact, Black in this position has played almost any legal move that makes at least a little bit of sense. Played bishop d7, bishop e6, almost any move. Knight e7, h6. You can play basically everything here. Kramnik played bishop d7. So, do you know what's the idea about this move?
I think Kramnik showed the idea in this match against Kasparov.
Yeah, right? He played it against Kasparov.
Yes, and the idea, when I recall it correctly, is to play a king c8 and b6, and to have a place for the king on b7.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. The old way to play this, old means like back from the 60s or 70s, was to, as I mentioned, as I played it, not that I played it in the 70s, I'm not that old, but I actually had looked at this King e8 move. The problem is a bit of this whole structure, that Black has lost his castling rights. If Black would be able to castle actually, by some kind of miracle, then he would instantly be probably better in this position. Because it's a little bit like an exchange Ruy Lopez, where White has played e4, e5, and e4, e5 is not the kind of move that you would like to play. Actually, if you would imagine this position with White having the pawn on e4 instead of e5, well, not in a position where you can take the knight, but just from a structural point of view, this would also benefit White greatly, because this e4, e5 advance has weakened all the light squares. So Black very often has got good play on the light squares. Well, okay, he went bishop d7. The idea is, as mentioned, to get the king quickly to b7, and then have the rooks connected. If Black manages to connect the rooks, he is usually fine. Okay, White goes h3, which is the main move in this position. And this has many ideas. One is to prepare g4, as White, generally speaking, wants to expand with 4 pawns against 3. And the other idea very often is bishop f4 to h2, so that you have a square available on h2. So it's a good multi-purpose move. And Kramnik plays h6. Yeah, it's hard to do without this move in the long run because of, no, not this one, knight g5. Knight g5 attacks f7. So this is why he goes h6. And now rook d1. Yeah, this has probably a direct idea. What would white play if black plays a nothing move? What do you think? E6?
I think I know it. It should be E6.
Yeah, it should be E6, no? Because after this, black needs to tie up his position, like this, and it looks very ugly. It's probably not directly winning, but it looks.
Maybe it continue with. Oh, knight E4 looks strong.
Yeah, there are many ideas. In general, I think white's pawn on E5 is not such a great help, and very often this E6 move can be a really good idea to release the energy of white's position. This is also why black wants to prevent this. He went to C8 with the king, so let's just get out of this. If white now goes E6, you simply take it, and it's completely pointless. So one general thing about this position is to look at the pieces. What kind of pieces do you want to exchange, and what pieces do you want to keep on the board? And in fact, what amazes me about this game, and we see this later, is the handling of this bishop. The F8 bishop is a very important piece for black here in terms of being a bad piece. It's not really a great piece because quite often you're forced to play C5 at some point, and then this bishop is bad. What black wants to do quite often is to exchange this bishop for a knight. For example, if white, let's just continue, we played A4, A5, B3. For example, now black plays B6, continuing the plan. But just to make it clear, if black would play this move, then white only has got one response. He must move the knight. He cannot play this move, as this would immediately lead to a good position for black because of the light squares. And this is very important to note in this position. Black wants to get rid of the bishop, but mostly he's not able to. So let's see what happens. Keep this bishop thing in mind. Yeah, why does black play knight e7?
Yes, maybe he likes to have the knight on G6 and put some pressure on E5 later. Maybe it should be. It's often
an idea to get it to G6. I think it has got two ideas. It attacks E5. It sometimes can go even to F4 to E6, and it also allows to protect this rook on H8. This is often an interesting point. Let's look at what happens. Rook D2, C5, rook, knight D2. Okay, this is not so important. Look here, this knight is protecting the rook. C4. Well, let's just look at rook D8. Yeah, it looks tempting, right?
Yeah, okay, check again.
And now you see why the knight is on G6. Because next move you actually are able to play bishop E7 and get rid of the rook. If you cannot manage to get rid of this rook, you have a very unhappy life. As black, you need to get rid of this piece. This is why he goes to G6. Quite important to note.
Well, this is very, very deep. Yeah, if you
are
not familiar with his plan, you simply wouldn't find it.
Yeah, well, Kramnik, look at the time. Kramnik has spent 10 minutes here. He knows this inside out, and Grishuk has spent 1 hour 20. I mean, this is really...
Yes, that's what I was curious about. Was Grishuk really prepared for this? For this line?
It's funny, yeah.
It seems that he is, not very well prepared for it. But I think, it was sure that Kramnik would play this variation.
It's sometimes strange, yeah. Or you think, okay, they prepare for this specific line. Why isn't he playing faster? Or where is the brilliant idea coming? Actually, in this game, it's nowhere to be found. I have no idea. I have no idea what his specific idea was. I mean, one point of this position is, of course, that it is rather difficult for white to lose. I mean, it's a very safe kind of setup. If you play it decently and don't get yourself into some specific trouble, then you should be okay in this type of endgame. But it's not something that troubles black in a way. He made all the normal looking moves and spent about 10 minutes on that. Okay, but one thing that it's important here, look at the pawn structure. This is very important. Black here has a very simple plan to win the game. What he wants to do is he wants to exchange all rooks and exchange those knights against knight g8 and the bishop on f8. If we at the end have opposite colored bishops and there are only bishop g2, b2 and e6 on the board, then black plays bishop f5, c2, b3, a4, b3, a4, and in Pac-Man style you eat up all the queenside pawns. I actually won games with this exactly in this fashion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this is why you need to be very cautious about the queenside pawns here.
Yeah.
And this is black's basic idea in this structure, to get this bishop and at the end win the whole queenside. And the fun thing is, look at the game, what happens. He plays bishop e7, knight c3, king b7, knight d5, all looking very, very normal. Rook d8. So remember what I said, white should never ever exchange the knight against the bishop, because the bishop is a stupid piece. It obviously is. It's looking at those pawns and doesn't have something to attack. In contrast to the e6 bishop. The e6 bishop has always the Pac-Man maneuver, but the bishop e7 has got nothing of the sort. And the amazing thing is that Grishuk took the bishop. When Short saw this move in the booth, he was completely shocked that he took the bishop, because he said this is such a gross positional error that he could not believe that he actually played the move. So, okay, it's probably an error, but nothing that should cost the game. It's still very curious why he did this, because white can play all sorts of nothing moves and be fine. I mean, what is black exactly doing against this move, for example, or some other nothing move? Probably black cannot do much.
Yeah, but what about if black simply doubles the rook also on the d file?
And travels c6, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and play c6.
Yeah, you can try that.
So maybe Grishuk thought sooner or later, oh, I have to
take anyway.
Take anyway, but okay. So
it's possible. It's possible. Maybe
he could have been waiting for that.
And one point could be that he somehow confused something in the move orders at the beginning, and he recognized, okay, I don't have anything. So let's trade all this off and make a draw. In fact, this actually should have happened, but let's see what exactly was played. The fun fact is that Kramnik still only had 20 minutes spent. I mean, he knows, as mentioned, all this inside out. For this, he took some time. This is interesting. He took 20 minutes for g5. I guess at this point he was trying to play in some way to keep some play in the position, maybe trying to get something, because black has, as mentioned, a relatively clear plan. Exchange the knights, exchange the rooks, and you're winning.
Yeah.
Bishop to c2. Okay, you need to go to and actually reach c2, but if you manage, you win.
Yeah.
So maybe this actually was the idea, like activating the knight and trying to force a nice exchange. Okay.
Yeah, but maybe Kramnik wasn't sure if he should place his pawns on edge on black squares, because maybe after exchanging everything but the bishops, the bishop on b2 has the same plan to catch some pawns on the queen side.
Yeah, you're right. This is possible.
Maybe with some ideas with bishop c1, h4, and something like this.
Yeah, you're right. It's possible. Placing them on dark squares can have a similar effect. Of course, those pawns on the queen side, they theoretically could have been attacked by the bishop as well. It simply doesn't reach them. This is the problem. Yeah, you're right. G5 is certainly quite a committal move. You cannot go back after once you have it on G5. Black, of course, here is trying to play for a win. I mean, he could easily play Rook G8, Rook D8, for example. Let's look at this here, and Knight E3. It's probably not happening much. The only thing that White doesn't need to allow is that you cannot take here, for example. Yeah?
Cannot take, yeah.
And now we have as mentioned, the Pac-Man bishop. So White needs to retreat here and just stay put. Yeah? Play G4 in the near future. Yeah, and Black is the one trying. Yeah? He tries G5, Knight G3, Rook D8. Now they exchange. And we have quite a similar situation as discussed before. There's only G5 played. And now this is interesting. Kramnik tries a different approach. He threatens Bishop C2, and this way forces the exchange of knight against.
He has to take the bishop. Otherwise, Bishop C2 anyway.
Yeah, and White could theoretically think about this, but this looks very passive. Quite ugly. Black has probably.
Yeah, maybe you can win E5 already.
Yeah, if you look at this like here and then.
Yeah, put the king to E6 and it's almost gone.
Yeah. The problem is this is one advantage of putting the pawn on G5. It cuts the E5 pawn from its forces. So this forced the exchange. Now Grishuk went G4, and now this is interesting. 2 minutes 58 seconds. The clock here on ICC is usually not 100% correct. It is off by a couple of seconds sometimes, but the general direction of the time is right. He might have had 3:20 or 2:40 or something. It is quite okay, this clock. And Kramnik had 1 hour 10 left, of course, 25 moves or something, or 22 moves of preparation, and the rest wasn't so difficult as well. Kramnik goes knight to D4. And this is, of course, putting Grishuk to the test. He has 11 moves to make. This pawn is hanging. What is White supposed to do? Yeah.
It seems that it's the only way to get rid of this knight and to enter the pawn ending. But who can calculate this pawn ending with this shortness of time?
Yeah, this is really the problem. The king and pawn endings are always a bit tricky because they're seldom. They're not like rook endings. In rook endings, sometimes you can say one side is slightly better and they are drawing chances, drawing margins or whatever. This doesn't exist in king and pawn endings. They are drawn or they are lost for one side. Yeah, they are almost like a mathematical equation with some result that is 1-0 or a draw, and it's not like slightly better or something. And the unlucky thing for Grishuk is he took this knight. And he answered this question wrong. This is losing. Yeah. This leads to a lost king and pawn ending.
What else should he have done? Is there something that could save him?
Yeah, there was one idea, and it's if you look at it later, it seems relatively easy. But the thing is, you need to do it in 2 minutes, and you need to recognize not only that the thing that he could have played was okay, but the king and pawn ending actually is not okay. He needs to do two things. Yeah, notice the one thing is losing and see that the other one is actually all right. He could have played king to E3, and if black now takes, there's E6. We mentioned this a lot earlier that this E6 is an idea.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. That's what I.
And you said the pawns are on dark squares, and this is actually happening now. King to E7 probably. Black can also take, but let's say he takes. Then there's bishop G7. And oops, no, not this one. It's those two.
So I think this suddenly looks very difficult for black.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
maybe
is,
should even be lost.
this is lost.
Yeah, this is lost.
So black
you have
black
to play
actually
very carefully,
cannot
yeah.
play this way. He can on e6 play king e7.
The only move, yeah.
This is a bit stronger, but look at this. Black's got the bishop in place,
Yeah,
and this probably leads to lots of problems for black. So what does this mean? Does had Grishuk even the chance to get an advantage? I don't know. Black doesn't need to take. Yeah, it's not a forced move. Black could simply drop back to e6, and this is what he should have done anyway with white. Get to this position and play this. It's not quite clear. Maybe white is doing quite okay. Maybe he had some fear that knight f4 to h3 was a problem. I don't know. Or he simply did a complete miscalculation in the king and pawn ending. I mean, this position white shouldn't lose. I think it's pretty clear that white shouldn't lose. He can always also get the bishop here.
yes. On contrary, maybe black is the one who has to be careful.
It's possible.
Suddenly, the bishop is superior to the knight. It could all happen.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think one idea that Kramnik has was really he certainly saw that the king and pawn ending is lost. I'm pretty sure that Kramnik noticed that, and he wanted to set this trap.
Yeah.
He was probably thinking, okay, if I don't go to d4, where else? I mean, you could go here, and then you need to go here anyway. So there's basically the same position.
The same position.
So he went to d4 and basically set this one big trap, and Grishuk fell right into it with little time. And this is, once again, this tournament shows how important the time management is. If Grishuk he wouldn't have spent so much time. If he would have just 1 or 2 minutes more, I'm pretty sure he would figure out that the king and pawn endgame is lost. But, well, he basically loses this because of bad time management. But let's figure out how this ended, because it's not so self-evident that this is lost. Let's look at this. Black takes, king e2, king d7. I think this is all very, very clear. What else should be done? And in this position, black, of course, has got a protected passer. But is it really enough? Went to e4, king to e6. And yeah, what now? This is a bit of a zugzwang, right?
Yeah, so we haven't
There's only
that much moves.
There's only this one, yeah.
There's only f4. Takes, and okay.
Yeah, this is the problem, yeah. White must stop the pawn. He only has this move. King d5, king d3, and f4. And now this is, yeah. If we had Pac-Man before, and this is Space Invaders, right?
Yeah.
The black king is just entering here, invades white's camp, and takes all the pawns. I think he probably resigned here, right? No, he just played. Probably he didn't have any time. So there were a couple of moves played. And yeah, now resigned. Yeah, black simply heads over and eats the queen side. Yeah, this was really really bad, right? This it's actually relatively easy. It's really a problem of the time. Yeah, he would never do that with a little bit more time on the clock. Okay, so at the end, a matter of time management. It was not really much of a matter of quality of moves, but a matter of time. So, bit of an unlucky loss, but important point, of course, for Kramnik, who's still in the race. If he wouldn't have won and stayed on +1, then Carlsen or Aronian probably are too far off. It's also a matter of less and less rounds to come. It's nice if you say, okay, it's just 1 point, yeah, but there are also very few rounds left now, so he needs to win at some point, and here he was lucky. He was very unlucky in this tournament at here. Luck was on his side. So, next game is Aronian against Ivanchuk, and Ivanchuk is probably the most unpredictable player. not only in this tournament, but probably in the whole of elite chess. And what is this actually?
It was very surprising.
The Budapest Gambit.
He comes up with the Budapest.
I'm not even sure if Ivanchuk has played this before, but he played all kinds of stuff. One thing you can be sure of, that Aronian didn't prepare this. I'm not sure if he prepared anyway in huge detail, because Ivanchuk really can play everything.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I don't know if this is correct, but I think Ivanchuk already spent 2 minutes on his first move.
Yeah, he does.
So
he does. He spends all kinds of time
in any position,
in situations
even if he didn't
that are really hard to understand. So okay, this is one of the main lines. White has protected the pawn here on e5, and black can give this check on b4. Yeah, here white has a principal choice, of course. He can play knight c3 or knight d2. And the more popular move nowadays actually is knight to d2, after which normally black continues with move like queen e7, e3, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, bishop e2, something like this, leading to
this actually is the point of this Budapest Gambit. Sooner or later he will get the pawn back on e5.
Yeah.
And I think all those lines where white tries to hold his pawn are maybe not the best lines for white. So
very often white doesn't really care about the pawn and just plays in this fashion as shown here. Yeah. There's actually one line where you can keep the pawn, and this is what Aronian played. He played knight c3, check, takes, and now queen d5. This, I think, this is the only line where you can legitimately hold on to the pawn, because black has no choice here really. There's this threat, and black must play f6 now. Yeah, you need to immediately force the hand here, otherwise white would kick the bishop, the knight back to some very bad square. Yeah. So this means here white really is a pawn up, but it's got a very bad pawn structure. I think this is until today not completely sure how to evaluate this position. I think there was some debate even not too long ago. Is he Russian? Viktor Moskalenko? I don't know. Well, somewhere from the former Soviet Union. He made a book, the fabulous Budapest Gambit or something, where he analyzed this line in some detail and thought black was okay. And if you look at the game, actually, I think despite the Budapest having slightly dodgy reputation, Ivanchuk didn't have a bad position. You look at this, which looks very normal. I'm not sure. I don't think you don't know the theory either. I think
no.
It's it looks very normal for black. I mean, he's got no weakness. All pawns are okay. It's got a good structure, but white has got.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, now as I look more closer, I really like black's position, I have to admit.
It's probably not so bad, I mean, there are...
If I will always get positions like this with the Budapest, maybe I will always play it, but okay. I think
black has
not possible as I wish.
Black has at least some ideas and some points to attack, c4, c3, there are weaknesses, but... of course, the position has one serious long-term drawback, and this means white's got two bishops. This is, of course, one problem. I think there's also one issue with the Budapest in general, that this bishop b4 always gives up this bishop against the knight. On d2 or on c3, you will never keep it. And the bishop pair is, of course, a big deal in modern chess. It always was, but in modern chess especially. So let's see what continued here. Rook a1, needed to protect this. And Ivanchuk went king h8, which is quite a good multi-purpose move. You want to get the king out of possible checks, yeah, on d5, on c4. It can always be in some sort of check. It's it's also a common theme in lots of openings where the f-pawn is moved to move the king on the side. And now white went knight d4, sorry, knight d4, and this is to use the bishop. Black probably needs to play as he did in the game. Played knight to e5. And this forces white to take on e5. So he managed to get rid of one of the bishops.
Yeah.
Yeah, knight to f5. I'm not sure. Was it... did you
What
need...
about knight... No. This is not a square.
What do you think about knight c2? Is this maybe an idea?
The idea being over e3 to d5?
Like something, but black has got c6, right?
Yeah.
Probably will play it instantly. Yeah, a line like this. A line like this, for example, isn't so clear for white. I mean, it looks nice. You've got this extra pawn, but this bishop is biting on a pawn. And black has got this excellent c5 square. He can get a knight there. He can get a queen there.
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult task for white to make progress.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Positions. Yeah.
I wouldn't be so confident here as well. How to make any progress? It's
and the question is where to play. On queen side, center, on the king side. It's not too easy.
It's not so evident. Yeah. Well, he went here, and this led to this exchange. Knight d7 with the tempo, and the queen went back. And now again, there's a really important point, and it's not on the left side of the video. Look at the right side. Look at the times. Aronian, who is the one actually being confronted with an opening he never ever could expect, spent 33 minutes, so he was really practical about his moves. And Ivanchuk has spent 1 hour, 24 minutes. And how is this even possible? I mean, he's the one getting in the surprise, and then he's spending like ages for his moves. Look here, 15 minutes, 8 minutes.
Oh,
more than half an hour.
He spent half an hour for this move.
Yeah, 23 and 83 minutes.
Okay.
38 minutes. 83 is a bit much. 38 minutes. Yeah, more than half an hour. I mean, I understand that you need to look a bit deeper and that it's all a very difficult game, but at one point you just need to move.
Yeah, actually,
it looks really natural.
Yes, in this position, we said it's obvious. Yeah, he has to play 95. What else?
What else is there?
What was he thinking about?
Yeah, maybe bishop d7, but is this a great move? I cannot believe it. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It looks very, very, very obvious. Yeah, but the thing is, even if you have a slightly better move, you should play a normal good one in like 10 minutes, let's say, and not spend so much time. So, to cut the story short, here we got a position where black certainly is quite okay. We see the whole kind of structure is nice. It's got a good square here. This bishop is limited. And even if you look at the position, black has got one very good idea. We put it on the board. It's very clear. Here. Black has excellent play against this pawn and probably will win the pawn. So Ivanchuk has played really well, I think, and got a very interesting playable position. But he's down to 20 minutes, and this means he now must make 19 moves in 19 minutes, which still is doable, but you need to be a bit quicker now.
Yeah.
And, I don't
now
think
in the next move we will see also a strength of Aronian. He plays very, very tricky in time trouble of his opponent.
Yeah.
So,
he's a very tricky player. So
he catches his only chance. Maybe, bishop e4 to follow, maybe to weaken the king side, exploiting the d line. Maybe it's
the position is
the only chance for white.
The position is probably, maybe it is equal, maybe it is unclear. But one thing is clear: Aronian has much more time to play and evaluate the position correctly. Ivanchuk must play relatively quickly, and he must start to now spend less time. This is 3 minutes. This is.
He must be very careful. What would happen if he simply takes the pawn on c4?
If he takes c4,
queen c4.
Yeah. Well, probably it's an exchange on rook d7.
Okay, that's another point.
But it's not so clear if this is so great. I mean, let's say I play in passive.
Rook's getting very active. Rook b1 maybe.
b1.
Rook b1, yeah.
Can now go here.
Yeah.
This is good for white.
Take maybe a4
and a4. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is good. Yeah. a4, a5, and this also undermines the pawn. This is a very typical way to get your bishop active. This bishop looks like it's biting on granite, but if you manage to shove this pawn all the way to a6, then this bishop will get good again. For example, let's say black plays here, a5, knight moves, then you can even take it. Can you take it?
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
knight a5.
Yeah, you can go here. It's one idea. One idea is to just go here, and then
maybe this is even stronger. This is stronger. You keep this a pawn and
you keep it. Yeah. So this a pawn move is a very interesting thing to remember. So you very often this way you can activate your bishop if you get the pawn all the way up to a6. Okay, but this is a line that probably Ivanchuk, I think, relatively quickly dismissed because you don't want to have a piece on the 7th. But he played this first, and now king g7. Yeah, well, okay, there was bishop g6 threatened.
Yeah.
Maybe now takes. Black maybe could have taken now.
Okay.
This also prevents bishop g6. Yeah, this is very unclear.
Oh, yes.
But should black be in trouble? I mean, just on general grounds, this bishop and the queen are attacking, but this is not so dangerous, I think, at the moment. The bishop has a good position, but there's no direct threats, and black should be able to defend this. I mean, king here, rook f7, protecting the 7th.
Yeah, so where are the threats?
White doesn't have big
threats. I don't see anything he could do.
One
maybe he can just double rooks, but what's the effect?
You can go here.
King G.
Then
first.
Even if
f7.
f7, yeah, rook f7.
Okay, rook b8 maybe is a bit annoying, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There are many ways to go. Black even could go. Just say here. I mean, it's rook f3 is a bit annoying. Okay. Or king g7, maybe just here. And now intending this, I want to get out of this idea. I mean,
of course.
It's a bit annoying in the long run.
Yeah.
I don't think that black should be in a bad shape. I mean, but I think in the game it wasn't a big problem as well. He went king g7, king g2. Yeah, king g2 probably to allow the f pawn to move at some point, get out of this. Now he took, so we have a very similar position, and rook d1. Yeah, this is almost what we got, just not king g2, what we got in the line before.
Yeah.
Aronian caught a little bit up on the clock, actually.
But there's another pawn hanging that you can take on a2, actually. Did he take it?
Yeah, he did. Okay. He took it. He took it.
But why not?
Yeah, and now the question is, what is happening? Black is one pawn up by now, and Where is White's compensation?
No, White has to show something now. He has to create some maybe. I don't know what would be an idea. Queen G5, H4, H5, something like this. I don't know.
Yeah, one thing that you see is that bishops are sometimes very clumsy attacking pieces. Yeah, this bishop seems nice on e4, but it just bites on those pawns. It's not like a knight where you sometimes can somehow get near the king and play for tricks. Huh?
Yeah, somehow maybe you have to try to weaken G6 a bit more. Maybe.
Yeah, with H4 for example.
Yeah, but okay.
I think
maybe
Aronian,
it's a bit too slow because we have some.
Aronian tried something else. Played this move, trying to use the pieces. Yeah, just by pieces.
Okay.
Rook H3 and maybe G5.
Okay.
And this, but it's a bit of a, I don't know, crossing the point of no return move. Yeah.
I think it should have some drawbacks as well. Like weak F4. Maybe later you can get this knight to F4. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a risky move. It's certainly risky. I think this is really a very, very decisive point of the tournament here for Aronian. If he would lose this game, then he's out of it.
Yeah.
He lost against Gelfand round before. And if he loses one more game, then he's out, basically. Then this is too much. Being on +1 is just not enough. So he needs to at least not lose this. I mean, if for some reason it would end in a draw, I think this is still okay, but you cannot lose. But at the moment he needs to try to stir up some trouble, otherwise he's just material down. Rook F4, yeah. This looks like a normal enough move. Look at the time, down to 6 minutes and 50 seconds. He took 5 minutes.
Took 5 minutes for this. No, I can't get this. Why?
Yeah, this.
But this is with him.
But this is at least a complicated position. He sometimes takes this time in lame positions.
Yeah.
Okay, Bishop F5. This is of course a cool move. What's the idea? Let's first figure out what happens if Black takes
this piece. Bishop.
Check.
Queen G5. No, okay.
Yeah, there's not. Rook F7 is not on anymore. This is probably
takes and
check.
Oh, this is mate.
Yeah, the problem
is it mate?
This is mate.
This is mate. Okay, you have to.
Check.
This is also mate.
You have to sacrifice the queen.
Yeah, you have to go back here. Yeah.
Check. Check.
And what is this at the end? Okay, first body count. Yeah, White has got an extra pawn, right? Yeah, an extra pawn, and Black's got a very weak king.
Very weak king, and the rooks are not coordinated. You have 3 pawns on F and H file. Yeah. Yeah,
White should be better probably.
Yeah.
It's not. It's always a bit tricky, yeah, with 2 rooks against the queen, because if the rooks somehow get into coordination, you get into trouble. But here you get also this extra pawn, and it's not so easy to even suggest a direct move. I mean, Black probably goes something like this,
check.
And after let's say just for argument's sake, you play this with this idea. How does the rook on F4 even get into the game?
Yeah,
it's a bit problematic. And if you let's say you move it away, then there's the F pawn. Yeah,
and this is already
it's probably over. You cannot take the bishop. So this is a nice shot, by Aronian.
But okay, you don't have to take this now. When the bishop isn't on E4 anymore, maybe you can play now knight D5.
Maybe consider knight D5. Yeah. Awesome. Let's say, what is actually threatened? Yeah, well, it's Rook D7 is a threat. It's a threat.
Yeah.
You cannot do some.
It seems like this is the only move. Knight D5.
Probably, yeah.
don't
I was just thinking, let's say I return here, yeah? Then there's
okay.
also
Oh,
rook
okay.
d7. This is not so clear, actually. Here, this stuff.
Ah, rook f5. Okay.
Check.
Yeah,
That's a big difference
this
to
is a
the
very
variation
big,
we had. Yeah, this is a big difference
Black's
because
king is
Black's king
perfectly
is safe.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is good for Black.
So this is good for Black. So 95. This is also what he played, but now he's down to 2 minutes 44. So
For how many moves? For 30 moves.
30 moves.
Okay.
It's doable in a blitz game, but if the opponent has got lots of time and poses you problems, here you've got one problem, a very direct one, and yeah, you need to solve it now. How do you parry queen takes h7?
Okay, so in a blitz game, I would play rook h8. Yeah, also in a bullet game.
Probably, yeah. Well, Ivanchuk only had 2 minutes. He played this.
Yeah.
And in fact, it has a problem. It has got a big drawback, and this is the move e3, attacking the rook. And where does the rook go now?
Okay, so why is this so problematic? Go to c4 or I don't know, c4.
Check.
Check.
Is it such a problem? Yeah, white can take... No, if we take on g6, there's actually this move, right?
Check.
Oh, rook g3.
You can
It's
still go
possible.
here. You can still go here, yeah?
Yeah.
Check.
Let's say this.
So the pawn is pinned.
Yeah, one important thing is that here the queen is always covering e3, yeah? Otherwise knight e3 would be an issue, and black cannot really take, because this is...
Check.
It's also with check, yeah? Very important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and now white threatens very, very big checks with this with this bishop. Yeah, it's looked terrible.
Yeah, now the black queen is missing.
Yeah,
Defense.
the queen.
Absence on
Yeah,
the,
yeah, you're right.
On the queen wing, and this, yeah.
This is actually a very important thing to notice again and again. Very often, attacks on the king with queens on the board are very often successful in situations where the attacker has got the queen in play, like here. It is doing things, and the defender has got the queen somewhere offside, like here.
Yeah.
And this really means that in the area of the board where it counts, white has something of an extra queen.
Yeah. So it might be that we will come back to the theme in our last game.
Yeah, the queen is offside, and this is a problem. So what is this? So rook h8 was played, and
what else can you do now?
yeah, the thing is, if you check it with the computer, it actually says h5 would draw.
Okay.
But it's not easy at all. Of course, the thing that would irritate me here is this queen g5, yeah, attacking g6. But yeah, the thing is, the computer is, of course,
Check.
without mercy. It just takes here and says that this is fine. It's interesting.
Okay, this is very, very difficult to see.
This is surprising. If you what would happen? Let's say rook h8, yeah.
Yeah.
Then simply rook e6. And the computer
Everything
says,
is protected.
"Oh,
Okay.
king! Oh, this actually wins. Okay, this looks very dangerous." So how does black protect?
Can give a check on f4.
You can always check here, king somewhere, and queen back. Yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
This is super complicated. Yeah, well, you can work it out in a correspondence game or in a game where you maybe have 10
Yes, the
minutes.
knight is very strong. So maybe after
really strong.
queen h4, you can go to h5 with the knight. Yeah,
Yeah, this is possible.
Yeah,
This is possible. This rook
White
is
has to watch that he
you can
doesn't get rid of
easily
and takes him. Move repetition.
Yeah, you can easily construct a draw here with a repetition of moves. Yeah, so to just get back to what happened, Aronian played this, and now Ivanchuk should have played h5.
Yeah.
This is really difficult.
I'm sure he saw queen g5, and he didn't see a defense to queen g5. I think
Probably,
that's the point.
probably. Well, he went here, and after e3, this rook was in a bad spot. Yeah. He probably thought he was losing anyway. If you dismiss h5, you must play rook h8, and then probably he saw that he's in big trouble after this. But well, with 2 minutes, you simply have this problem.
Yeah.
You cannot calculate anymore. So he took the bishop. As we showed, if he would drop back with the rook, there's this. There's this coming.
Yeah, it should be enough.
Should be winning, yeah. And this is why he took. f4, knight takes.
I think it should go to the corner, yeah? h1?
Yeah, in fact, the game here was ended. As
okay.
He played knight f4 and
I know why.
overstepped the time. He's on
5 zeros in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, this means 5 zeros in a row. That also could stand for Chuky's 5 losses, and I think 4 of them, 3 at least were on time. I think maybe even 4.
In both games against Aronian, he lost on time. This is the first game, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, what was this game? Aronian had black. What was this?
This was a very complicated game.
Where he attacked with h4 and so on. He lost on time. You're right. He lost on time. Both games, King h1. Probably this would have happened. King h1 takes here, and then at the end there's this coming again.
Yeah.
And your king is the problem. With
already mate in 1.
With mate in 1. And rook on d7 is deadly, unfortunately. Well, you cannot play successfully at this level if you don't manage your time.
Yeah.
Check.
Look, the end of the game. Aronian still has 23 minutes left. He could have easily spent time before at some point, but he sort of always had... he left himself with a couple of minutes extra time reserve if it should get really, really, really complicated at some point, so that he has some time to calculate it probably. And Ivanchuk simply didn't have any time at the end and overstepped the time limit even. But it was lost at least. It's not a huge consolation, but it feels even worse if you overstep the time.
But anyway, I'm very happy that he used openings like this. Because now it's
interesting.
It seems that it's playable also on top level.
It's very often that people dismiss openings on some sort of general opinion that it's maybe not 100% okay, but it's certainly a playable opening. I don't think that in this kind of position white should get more than a slight advantage. I mean, this is if you play some sort of, let's say, Queen's Gambit, where you have long time problems with your c8 bishop and trying to defend the position, you are probably also not much better off than here, where you've got all kinds of active pieces and active play. So it's a good thing to have this variety in the tournament. They're not the same openings all over again. Yeah. Let's say compared to this candidates matches format that we had 2011 in Kazan in Russia, where they all the time played the Queen's Gambit declined and you were liable to fall asleep like after 10 minutes. Okay, so we've got 3 games covered, and last one is Carlsen against Gelfand. And Carlsen had won the first round game, so to say, against Gelfand with black, and he certainly intended to press a bit at least. So what do we have? The Sicilian with knight c6. Gelfand sticks to his guns. He had prepared the Sveshnikov for the World Championship match against Arnold, and just to put it on the board, this line, this is what he had prepared for the Moscow match, and they had it on the board once, and Gelfand was so excellently prepared that Arnold after that gave up the open Sicilian altogether and played bishop b5. And this is what Carlsen here also plays, but I think he prefers this anyway, right? He plays the open, but
he played it in this tournament against Radjabov.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
It wasn't so successful.
Yeah.
But the difference is against Radjabov he took here instantly. Yeah, he had Radjabov was this game, and where he played on the pawn structure and didn't really work out. Radjabov had a great position and was winning even. A very important game for the tournament. If he would have won, it all would have gone differently. I guess for both players. I mean, even Radjabov, after he missed this chance, Radjabov was completely out of it. Okay, so he didn't take. He just castled, which is a good alternative, of course. Knight g to e7, so you can actually recapture on c6 with the knight. Rook e1, a6, and bishop f1. So very smooth way of setting up your pieces.
It's very interesting, this concept, playing the bishop to b5 and a few moves to return to f1. Yes, but the bishop of f1 had good function. As we will see later, he can protect or push forward some pawns on the queen side. Yeah, and it also covers the king. Because there's no, it's not possible to have a mate on the back rank. So
it sits there nicely. Quite often, it's funny that bishops are very often very good on the initial squares. The only thing is you actually need to get the king out of the way. So if you manage to castle, move the rook and put the bishop back, this is very often a good thing to do. It's very common in the Ruy Lopez, for example, where black plays bishop e7, rook e8, bishop f8 back, and then it's all set up nicely. And of course, in the right position, it can always go back to an active post. But for the moment, it doesn't hinder anything. Okay, so here Gelfand went d5, and we see from the time spent that this was all very much anticipated. Carlsen now took on d5, which is the normal move. In fact, earlier Ivanchuk in this tournament had played d3, and after d4, e5, knight d5, it was quite a good position for black. Ivanchuk actually was in big trouble as white. And Gelfand should have won this game. He really outplayed Ivanchuk nicely, but somehow stumbled in time trouble. Of course, Carlsen does not play this. He played e takes d5, capturing. And now we have an interesting point here. For some reason, Gelfand invested time, like 18 minutes, and then took on d5 with the knight, which really left me a bit puzzled.
Because I think what I saw in this position, you can take with the queen on d5
to prevent d4. Yeah. I thought this as well. The idea could be that right now, if white would go d4, let's just show it. Black can take, and it's actually a real extra pawn. White cannot go d4. This is a difference to the game, and probably white should do something else. I don't know. This perhaps.
Now after queen d5. The bishop moves again. Bishop d3 with the idea bishop e4.
This is interesting.
That's what I saw in some games.
Yeah, and then it's interesting
to play c3 and d4 after.
Yeah,
but you have
I agree.
You have a very nice bishop on e4.
But it's also interesting for black. I agree. This leads to somewhat more, let's say, unbalanced position. Yeah, like. In the game, it's pretty much relatively clear after a couple of moves that only white can be slightly better. But after this, it's after queen takes, it's not so clear what is happening. It's a little bit more of a fight, maybe.
Yeah.
I also wonder, what about knight c3? Is this bad? Bad, really? Maybe you can return all the way back, yeah? And then
return
knight
to d8, yeah.
Yeah, white has little chance of getting active play if you are not able to play d4 here, right?
Yeah.
If you play like d3 and this kind of setup, it's very toothless. I mean, black is very slow with development, but well,
yeah, but
there's no attack.
Black has control over a very important square, and this is d4.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was considering this, but the thing is, you should actually check this out beforehand at home.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe he was also trying to anticipate what maybe Carlsen has in store after knight takes d5, because this is the normal move, and it was played, of course. Also, you must add that if you say, okay, he should have anticipated and so on, Carlsen plays any move. He plays knight f3 on first move, d4, c4, whatever, and Gelfand cannot 100% sure to get this position. So it's understandable that he maybe rechecks his preparation. Okay, now d4. Now it is possible. And knight f6. Yeah, this looks a bit strange at first, retreating the knight. But I guess what black is trying to do is to immediately put some pressure on d4 and force a concession.
Yes, and yes, another point could be that black is awaiting c2, c4, and
he wants to make sure that it is not coming with a tempo. If black, for example, okay, this is a bad move, but let's say he would play bishop d7, then c4
and d5. Yeah,
and this is really ugly. This gets ugly. You have a rook already on e1. White was very quick with getting his rook in the center, and it's opposed to black's king. So,
but I think perfectly playable is bishop e7.
Like here.
Yeah, I think this has been played already in several games. Bishop e7 in this position.
Yeah, like this again.
Yeah,
it's probably similar.
I think now d5 is not possible.
Yeah, maybe here. Oops, not this. This could easily lead to the game.
Okay, but this is
Let's say here this could lead to the game.
Yeah.
No. Okay, let's say knight f6. Bishop e3 played, d4 was attacked, took here, and played bishop d7, so that you can recapture here now, like this. And this is a nicely placed bishop. Okay, but white doesn't want to capture instantly. He plays c4 first. Yeah, in this position now, Gelfand plays very straightforward. He just takes on d4, which immediately prepares the bishop move. So it went like this, and Carlsen developed with knight c3. He could have maybe delayed this capture on d4 and first play bishop e7, but it's not clear that this is actually better. I think this shouldn't be a big problem, this position for black, but he needs to play accurately.
Yeah. Because what we will see in this game, the bishop on d4 is a very strong piece.
It's really strong.
It's almost impossible for black to get rid of this bishop. Yeah, because it also covers e5. It can go to e5.
Yeah.
e5 is absolutely under control, but the rook e1 as well. And
yes. White seems to be a bit more comfortable. It's easier for white to shuffle his pieces to good squares and sort of build up something, as black is a bit more passive. Here, after a3, white is intending to play b4, and this is a difficult choice. Gelfand actually opted to go for a5, stopping b4. It's not clear. He could have also played the just castles, and after b4 continue with some relatively modest move, let's say Queen c7, it doesn't really help.
Yeah.
Something like this. I'm not sure if you want to do that.
Maybe this is an idea, yeah. To keep the bishop on the diagonal.
Maybe you can do this, yeah. But it looks like white is slightly better. I mean, simply the 3 against 2 and this play with the space advantage, it should be a little bit of something. It's not a dramatic thing where you can actually lose quickly as black, but it looks a bit better for white. But okay, he decided to play a5. I don't think this is really a big mistake. Do you think? I mean,
I wouldn't call it mistake, of course, yes, but I would think twice about this. Moving a5 in Sicily in general, because you shouldn't forget you will weaken some important squares like b5.
He didn't. I think he didn't want to have b4 coming really.
Yeah.
And maybe he also thought this is a possibility. A5 and let's put white's move on the board. Maybe he actually had intended, it's a possibility, to play a4 at some point, which really would be great. If, let's say after a4, if for some reason white wouldn't be allowed to play exactly the coming moves, then this would be great for black. a4 in fact is a mistake here because of rook d1 intending queen g3, and this pressure is simply too much. We can put it on the board. Let's say castles, queen g3, intending this. And now the queen needs to move. Let's say here. Then there's a very really standard Sicilian tactic, knight d5.
Yes, it's very nice.
Yeah, this is very nice. What's black supposed to do now? It threatened on f6 on e7. And if you grab here, rook e7, and well, this is deadly.
Yeah.
And we have
what about okay? Then you should play.
This is the easy line. Yeah, it's a bit. There are more difficult ones.
Yeah, that's a big problem for black. He hasn't got a good place for a good square for the queen. Yeah. So
also, yeah. Yeah, black in this he needs to take. Yeah, can try this. Black has no move. This is the problem. Queen d5, bishop f6, e d5, rook e7.
You have to move the rook. Yeah, rook d8 maybe. Rook a to the
and then you can go something like here and take on e6. Yeah, that's a disaster.
Yeah.
It's really a disaster. Yeah, black cannot go a4. Well, he played correctly. He castled, rook d1. White is simply better mobilized. He's got better pieces and he's got queen g3 coming. And this is actually a sequence of only moves. Black now goes queen here. This is actually necessary because queen g3 was the threat and black controls the square. So now queen g3, black is glad to exchange and relieve himself of some pressure. Of course, Carlsen doesn't do that. He attacks the queen first. It moved to b6. Queen g3. So this is the ideal setup. Black, of course, never can take here because of knight d5. This is even simpler than before. Attacking all kinds of things at the same time. We had rook d8.
Check.
Exchanged. Yeah, of course, you cannot go here because of this one. So queen d8, rook d1. And this is all very logical. I think up to this point, this is very close to optimal play by both sides. Really, you can argue about a5 this move, but other than that, it's very logical. But now there's queen b6, and if you look at what happens in the game, it really seems that queen b6 is really a big mistake.
And maybe it's interesting. How much time did Gelfand spend to this move?
4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay.
It's not so much. Maybe he misevaluated something in the coming complication. It is complicated. It's not clear cut. It's a bit of like this this figure of speech that I learned recently. Hindsight is always 20/20, which translates to German to German like afterwards you're always more clever than you are in the situation when you actually sit at the board. You know afterwards, well, I lost after that one. Maybe I should have done something differently. So, okay, now I spoiled it. Carlsen will win the game. But the thing is...
I think here you have to seriously consider Queen F8.
Yeah, this is the point. This would have been better, simply because the queen on b6 gets attacked. Yeah, we will see in the game that this queen will really be a cause of concern. You always get attacked and get tactics on the queen if it is on the b file here. And on f8, it's not very active, but it also cannot be attacked. This is very nice. It prepares rook to d8. And it's not so apparent what white is going to do now. He can play, for example, let's say bishop here, activating this piece, setting it on a good diagonal. But it's not so clear-cut how to continue. If, for example, black goes here, then white doesn't have a direct way to continue. Maybe you even manage to get off one pair of rooks, and after rook exchange, I think the worst is really over.
Yeah.
The rooks don't do much anymore, but if you reduce the amount of pieces, then the activity is not so dangerous anymore. It really seems that this would have helped Gelfand's cause. After this, we can see that the queen gets attacked, and it doesn't have anything else than to go to b3. If black goes for a6 maybe, then you have b4 coming, and this is quite an annoyance. Black cannot take here because this loses a piece and probably very quickly the king. So it's not possible. You need to go here, and this is really a problematic piece now. This queen, rook d3 with the instant threat of knight d5. And black only has this. This is all only moves. And I think probably Gelfand's rationale was, okay, I don't want to play this passive move. I want to use the queen here as a kind of annoyance factor. Annoy white on the back rank and attack things. But the problem is it doesn't work out from a tactical point of view, because now white has this very strong move b4. And black cannot take it. We can do this. And now, of course, black cannot take it because, again, of bishop f6. And this means that white established this pawn duo after all, and then you can argue a5 failed, yeah?
Yeah, right. And now black always has to watch for b5, and you haven't got a good square for this bishop on c6, yeah? You can put it to e8, and it will remain very, very passive.
Yeah, you really don't want to get it to e8. Yeah, it's really a problematic position now. I think it's very hard to save if it is possible. I mean, I had looked a bit at this also with the help of the computer, and we didn't really find anything good anymore. What Gelfand tried is one of the tougher defenses, but it doesn't really help. He went for this kind of exchange operation. This only fails to very little detail. Rook takes, queen takes, and now white needs to find the all-important move, and it's a very nice one. Played queen a5. Yeah, putting the queen en prise, but attacking the rook. You cannot take it here because of this
checkmate.
Back rank mate. And what does this mean? Okay, black must move the rook, and he doesn't have a good square. It is vulnerable on all kinds of squares. The only square which is not losing immediately probably is this one. And now just queen to b6. And this actually threatens something. A very, very hard threat is b4 to b5. Black plays a nothing move, then b5. You need to return all the way, and then this bishop is simply gone.
Yeah, you will play rook d8, and I think
there's no move.
Yeah, black can't survive this.
Yeah, you cannot move any of this, and white will simply push the c pawn.
Yeah, and that's why what I'm very happy is that I have a bishop on f1.
Exactly.
This is the best piece you can have
this
in
is
the background
all
to protect the king.
You can view this king side as a sort of sealed off unit. Yeah, it's not happening much. The single queen cannot do anything against this, so it's all very safe. And this is the threat. Yeah, b5. So black must do something concrete. He attacked the rook, but this also weakened, of course, this pawn. And in fact, we see that this pawn will get lost in short order. Black didn't really have a defense to that. Yeah, and now it is gone. Black had no
why not rook e8 actually?
At here.
After rook d5, after attacking the pawn of e5.
Here.
Yes. It's not possible to play this.
It's maybe possible. I wonder about rook d8.
Okay, rook d8. I would take it. Queen g7.
I was thinking to go here and now push the pawn, but maybe it is not. You can really play this.
Matters are not so clear. So
this is not so clear. Yeah. You're maybe right.
Maybe you shouldn't exchange.
It's possible that rook d8 is not good. I can push instantly maybe. Yeah. You need to do this simply before black plays b6.
Yeah.
You need to take this chance.
It's dangerous. We can
here black doesn't have a good move. You cannot move the e pawn.
Yeah.
Cannot move the rook. So it's all a bit tied down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a try. It's a try. Maybe. I think what he wanted to do is he wanted to quickly go through the to the first rank to get this counterplay here with the possible bishop move.
Yeah.
So he took it. Yeah, and here it looks like white should win somehow with good technical play, but it's still not so easy. Rook a8. Yeah, this is all pretty much normal looking. White is attacking now the b7 pawn.
Yes, queen is central last position.
It's a very nice position for the queen. And the thing is, what is black supposed to do now? Actually, the computer recommends some passive defense, like rook here or
rook a7.
The even stranger rook a7, which looks really weird. I mean, I really doubt that any human would play this. Okay, this is not really a practical move to analyze now, because Gelfand played rook a1, and this is a much more human decision, because what he wanted to do is he wanted to exchange the rooks and now get some counterplay here on the first rank with this bishop c4 idea. The only thing is it's not working. Sometimes it's so easy, but I think he would have lost anyway, even with other continuation. So Carlsen pushed the c pawn, queen c3, queen b7.
And now this is kind of strange. But why didn't he take the pawn on c5 actually?
You're right. Yeah, he couldn't take. He could take.
I think he was
maybe
afraid of
just
b6 and.
There's this one coming in with the tempo in a way, yeah. And what is black doing here? Can go here. Just for argument's sake, let's see here.
Okay, you have b4, queen b4. Maybe, maybe this is a setup where you can put some resistance.
Yeah, you're covering b7 and
covering
b7.
Yeah. But somehow it should be a way to convert this. But I don't.
It's not completely easy. Yeah? What you would like to get rid of the bishop, yeah, in some manner.
So you think?
I was thinking if you maybe can go here or g3 bishop g2.
Yeah.
Maybe there's also some tactic. I mean, this is possible. This is maybe a tactical move, but it looks really weird.
Oh wow! What is that?
Maybe this is a tactic that's working, but I'm not so sure what it is actually doing.
Queen check e1?
Check.
Would you take on f2?
This was my problem, yeah, because now h4 is hanging, and it's difficult to see. Yeah, maybe this one, I don't know, but
okay. Does it win?
You cannot take, right?
You cannot take.
Bishop b7.
You cannot take anything. You will lose.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's just quickly. Is this winning for white? It is technically winning,
yeah,
because
bishop, yeah, or bishop e2, bishop f3.
Yeah, you go to f3.
You can exchange the bishops.
Yeah. This is even easier. So maybe there's some tactical way. I guess with this extra pawn, it should be winning somehow.
Yeah,
it should be. Well, he tried for this counterplay with bishop c4, and in fact, it's not so easy.
Yeah, at first glance, yeah, you might be in trouble with the white, but okay. Carlsen found some way to.
He actually just advanced the pawn.
Yeah.
And ignored all this.
Yeah.
The pawns are too advanced, actually.
Our nice bishop is lost, but okay.
Yeah, it took
you get a queen for it, yeah.
Yeah,
can afford this.
Queen for a bishop is very often a good trade. So queen b1, and now you need to only have some small steps left, but the pawns just can advance.
Yeah, the bishop can't do anything.
Yeah, and here we've got b8 covered, and white will get a new queen. It's unavoidable now.
That's where you can see how powerful connected passed pawns can be. Yeah,
and actually, right from the opening, it always was an idea in here with b4 that white. Oops, yeah, I never learned this. That white has the chance to, at the end, get a pass pawn with this 3 against 2. And here in this game, it actually materialized that these pawns are, at the end, the decisive factor. So a rather typical game for Carlsen. He got some slight advantage, and then by very good concrete calculation, he set so many problems for the opponent that it actually leads to a crackdown when the time gets a little bit shorter. Very important win, of course, for the tournament. Aronian won as well. Maybe a bit of a lucky win, slightly lucky against Ivanchuk. I think he was in trouble at some point. And Kramnik won with this neat trap that Grishuk fell into. So at the end, all 3 players that still fight for the first place won today. The status quo hasn't changed, and this means the tournament is still, still very tense and open. Carlsen certainly has got the best chances, but it's not clear cut by any means. Still some possibilities left. Yeah, all right. I think we are through. It's been a long video, but it also was quite a lot of content to cover. There were interesting games. It was only this one relatively uninteresting draw, but the other games have been a real fight. Yeah, also thanks to my co-host here today, Jürgen.
I have to thank, it was fun for me.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave some kind comments, and I'll be back tomorrow with round 11, and I'll continue, of course, to cover the tournament until the very end. It's still 4 rounds to go. Thanks and bye.